I teach in our new master's degree program on Nonproliferation and Terrorism studies, where I don't torture my students, but I do use enhanced instructional techniques. And I had to learn all of these on the job. I got my degree from a major research university, and I won't tell you the name of it, but its initials are UCLA. And they were not at all focused on teaching in my department. You know, when I told my professors, my graduate colleagues, what I would like to do with my degree, my aspiration was always to teach. That was my motivation. That's my heart. That's what I want to do. And they would say, well, why are you setting your sights so low? Seriously, they did not regard teaching as one of the function that defines you as an academic or a professor or whatever that is. So I had to learn everything I learned about teaching through the experience of teaching, which I've been doing for almost 20 years now at the university level. And so today I'd like to share with you the two most important lessons that I learned through that experience. And I'm going to use some technical jargon in describing these, but I promise you that I'll explain myself very carefully. So lesson number one, if you're not having fun, they're not having fun. Now, I realize this is a technical concept, but I will go over. Number two, make them do the work. These are the two most important lessons that I've learned so far as a teacher. Now, if you're not having fun, they're not having fun. Now, I have a good friend of mine who was teaching a human sexuality class here in the area, another local university, and she was really, really struggling with it. I mean, she just felt she was putting in so much time and effort and not reaching anybody, and had a hard time thinking of topics to say and how to evaluate students and everything. And I said, look, I teach about nuclear weapons, and I love it. You teach about sex, and you hate it. Now, what is wrong with this picture? Now, not everything about the subjects that we teach is beautiful or fun or exciting or humorous. If you ask any comedian, what are the only two things you can't make jokes about are cancer and Hiroshima. And as someone who talks about the effects of radiological weapons, I have to talk about both. See, I'm sorry, that was not a laugh line, because it's no fun having to tell people, what biological weapons can do to people. But that is part of my job. So we are not always blessed with the opportunity to teach something that is inherently fun and exciting. But what we can do as teachers is we can focus on what fascinates us and interests us and captivates us and motivates us about the subject that we're teaching. It could be the subject, it could be the environment. Maybe we love working with kids, we love working with the age group that we are. Maybe it's where we are, we love the place where we are. There's something that we love about it. And there's something that we enjoy about the process of teaching. Because really, as teachers, we are all artists. Teaching is an art form. And if we can bring to our students, whoever they are, wherever they are, something that tells them, that shares with them what excites us about our art, then they will be motivated to perform at a higher level. They'll get more out of it, they will enjoy it more, we will feel like we are getting more results for less effort, we will be having fun. And your fun can't help be contagious. Even if no one gets your sense of humor, and yes, I have that problem all the time. If you are up there enjoying yourself, people cannot help but say, there's got to be something about this nuclear weapons thing that that is worth my time and attention, at least for the 2 hours of this class, and hopefully beyond that. So remember, as a teacher, you are an artist. As an artist, you have an obligation in doing your art to enjoy yourself. And if you're not having fun, your students are not having fun. If you are, they will be motivated to perform at a higher level, to work more. And that's the second lesson that I've learned, is make them do the work. Really, teaching at any level is a collaborative process. Now, some of our other speakers have given you concrete examples of how they learn from their students, whether those students are young or old or the same age, the same culture, different cultures, whatever. really learning is a collaborative process. But collaboration, the root word of collaborate is labor. That means work. Learning is work. There is a pedagogical technique that's called participatory learning or active learning, which has become fashionable in some circles. But when I hear about that, I go, look, all learning is active learning. There is no learning without activity. Learning does not take place by absorption. We can look at the most beautiful painting in the world, we can read the most inspiring poem, we can solve the most difficult equation. If we don't, if we just do that passively, we just look at the numbers on the blackboard and go through the motions, we're not really learning anything. Learning only occurs when you engage with the subject and with those who are studying it. It occurs when we evaluate the material. We see, we encounter a new fact and we go, does this confirm what I already know, or does it challenge it, or a little of both? How does it fit in with the bigger picture, or what kind of bigger picture can I draw around it? These are all activities. And now that we have such wonderful advances in medical imaging, we can actually see the brain working. We can literally see people learning. And the brain is using energy. It's doing work. So there is no learning without activity. So I came up with these, and I spoke with them at the 20th anniversary conference of the Center for Nonproliferation Studies. And shortly after that, I was tagged to teach our introductory course in nonproliferation, which I had done in some time. And I went, I've got to practice what I preach here. Because this course has been designed as a so-called lecture course. The basic premise was that an expert, so-called expert, would get up there and talk about nonproliferation for 2 hours a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever, and then would occasionally, at random intervals, give exams or something else that would let students demonstrate their learning. That's how it's designed. And I go, okay, how can I put my principles into practice here? So what I did was decide, okay, I'm going to lecture for a maximum of half this course, and really, even that is too much. The other half of the time, I'm going to let my students I'm going to ask my students to have what I call lab sessions, in which they get together in small groups, and it's their job to come up with, to decide what they are going to learn about the subject next. They decide what they are going to explore into more depth. They decide what they're going to put, in other words, their time and energy into learning, how they are going to do the work of teaching the class. Because their assignment is not just to explore this topic, but to share it with the rest of the class. And I said, you can do that in any manner that you think will be effective. If you want to give a slide presentation, you can do that. If you want to do a debate, you can do that. You can shoot a video, you can do whatever you want, as long as your facts are correct and you're sharing what you've learned with the rest of the group. Now, if I was working in K-12, I would have previewed these, because there's always a chance that somebody will Google up incorrect facts from Wikipedia or wherever. That's no knock against Wikipedia, because there are plenty of bad sources everywhere out in the internet world. But I would be a little bit more fastidious, let's say. I provide a little bit more coaching, is a better word to describe it, about what they were doing in class. But because this was a graduate course here at the Monterey Institute, that would be violating the second principle of make them do the work. And so I put all my syllabus together, I made all my plans, and so I was really sweating through the first month of here, because this was the first time I tried this technique at this level. And so far I couldn't really, although it hasn't always worked out in the way that I thought it would, I could not be more pleased with the results, with the creativity, with the energy that my students put into this course. They're working much harder than they did when I would just get up and talk to them 4 hours a week. And they realize that. So they realize that the course is now more work, but I think they also realize that they're getting more out of it. And their creativity has been incredible. We've had some amazing products of these explorations presented in class to demonstrate, and they've been very, very accurate on the facts. They've been very insightful in arranging and organizing and evaluating and analyzing material, which are all the skills we're trying to develop. And they've been very creative. Just a couple weeks ago, We had, as part of these exploration presentations, we had a video focused on techniques on how to protect yourself from biological and radiological weapons, in which they had a home shopping network presentation on that. We had one group explore, well, if we were to try to replicate the anthrax attacks that took place after 9/11, how much would it cost us today? And basically now using eBay, they could do it for less than the price of a digital camera. And we had one presentation, actually it was a dramatization, was basically a skit on stage that told the story of a famous inspection of North Korea's nuclear weapons program by a famous Stanford physicist. But it was done in the style of that famous inspirational movie, Team America, World Police. Yes, now, I don't really have time to go into that movie. I don't know whether I should recommend it or not. Let's just say it's not to everybody's taste. They do things with puppets in that movie that puppets should not do. And now, the students did not drop anybody into a Shark Tank at the end of their presentation, but they really were able to get across using all of their creative energy. They did an amazing job of actually telling the story of how North Korea tried to use that inspection to get its point across, and how some very bright people were able to get more information about North Korea's nuclear program, which was what the students decided to explore. So so far I'm very happy with the results. We'll see when my evaluations come in, if I still have my job after this semester, what the students and our administrators think of it. But I really recommend to you these two. If you ever find yourself stuck, if you think you'd rather be dumped into a Shark Tank than write another lecture, listen to one, put these two principles into work. Make them do the work, and if you're not having fun, they're not having fun. I really appreciate the time to speak with you this afternoon, and in closing, I'd just like to say that if my friend teaching human sexuality puts these into her course, I'm not responsible for what